this conversation was really very special for me. Gaurav is a very interesting and sweet guy. I met him through Instagram. He almost graduated from his college. He is majoring in economics and finance. He is about to work in Bain Company. It's a consulting firm. So he also worked in two Y-Combinator startups before. He also interned in a company. He's also building a startup right now, which is called Pocket Fund with another co-founder. It's basically an acquisition, a micro acquisition business. We actually recorded it for 2 hours, but we lost the second hour, which is very unfortunate. But we can definitely remake it in my December break where I'm going back to India because we're going to do this as an offline podcast. The conversation went very deep. We talked about life in general here, the personal development, stoicism, spirituality, and also how we got into Y Combinator startups and how one student can also apply to different startups and work in those kind of startups in India or maybe like anywhere in the world, or also like get internships in general. You also spoke about how you can network as a student. So this has been one of the best conversations I've had recently. He is truly a gem. I'm telling you, you have to watch this until the end and also wait for the second podcast. I really hope you find value in this because it was really very fun talking to him. Please subscribe to the podcast. Keep watching Supermind podcast. So what's up, bro? Really enjoyed the last conversation we had. Really excited for this conversation. I was really fascinated by the things you spoke in the last conversation regarding your journey throughout because you didn't speak regarding them a lot in your content. So made me really fascinated about it. So why don't you introduce yourself to the people who's watching you for the first time? Tell me, where did you start? How is your childhood like? Where you come from? Where you studying right now? What have you been doing? Why did you even start content creation in general? So take your time
Perfect.
and
Perfect. I feel like the answer to that question will take about 1 hour because I have to condense 20 years of life into.
100%, bro.
So, I'll try my best at it.
Take your time.
Perfect, dude. So, I feel like one of the toughest questions that we are asked growing up is, who are you, right? Most of us will realize that as we grow up, we don't know who we are and we just sort of try to figure out as we go who we are. And a lot of people in that process tell us, who we are. Someone tells us that when we're growing up, that we're the creative one, we're the studious one. You're the one who's going to go out and sort of lead the world, and a lot of these were socialized into a world with expectations. And so the last 20 years, in essence, has probably been trying to actually find out who I am. And I can honestly say that I'm not even close to finding out who I am. On a more sort of practical note, I'm 21 years old, I'm Gaurav. And basically, I've I have an bachelor's degree in economics and finance. I started university as a mechanical engineer. Over the summers, I worked with a few Y Combinator backed startups in strategy, operations, founders office. Uh, got the opportunity and privilege, really humbled to be able to work in the investment space in venture capital and private equity. And sort of also get into content creation, meet amazing people like you in the process. 21 years of life, it has honestly been sort of contradicting who I am every year and sort of answering for questions moving forward. Life over the next 2 years or 3 years is going to look like this. Hopefully, work with MBB in as a strategy consultant. Uh, I mean, uh, Going with the flow as of now, pretty much.
Very great, bro. So there's a lot of tangents to open up right now with the introduction you just gave. Tell me about your childhood, bro. How did it even start? Or why did you even choose to even do entrepreneurial like the things you're doing right now and get into Y Combinator? What is the motivation behind it? Like, what was the drive for you, and what did you look after while you were a child, which made you pursue those kind of things in your bachelor's degree?
Okay. So basically, growing up in a house with a brother, a sister, right? You sort of have a competition. You're competing to a point, not to the world, actually to your family, to your parents. Sort of who's better. And I like to think of my life as an echo chamber. basically the opinions and thoughts that you have in your house sort of echoes in you, right? Growing up, I was told that I'm the creative one. I'm incapable of studying well. It's okay to sort of take a path that is not conventional, and that sort of kept bothering me because I was like, I can do all the things that everyone else does, and I show you that I can do it. And that was probably one of the biggest reasons I wanted to be different. I wanted to, if I were to be brutally honest, I wanted to be different for the fuck of being different, uh, because because just to prove a point that you can be different and still make sense as a person. Yeah.
So, did you have like an elder or a younger sibling regarding like?
That I don't. I have a elder brother. I don't hate him.
Oh, okay, okay. So, in your family, you had this always like he was good at academics and you were good at creative, and they always forced you to like, I mean, not force you, but told you that you could also choose a different path in terms of conventional. So, but you wanted to prove them that you can also do something which is kind of conventional. I don't know, like, how do you say it?
Exactly. I mean, I'll probably put it like this, right? My brother, when he was in ninth and 10th, he was preparing for joint entrance exam. He was preparing for JE. When I was in my ninth and 10th, I was preparing for undergrad common entrance exam for design. Right.
Oh,
And then I took up a degree in mechanical engineering, dropped out of it in a year, and then started studying economics and finance. I mean, the whole point of it is to sort of be a contradiction, right? Like I think in economics, right, sort of something that you would also have learned in Micro 101 and behavioral is this idea of sunk cost. It's basically when you have made a decision in life and now you're scared to move out of it because you have invested so much, right? But if you don't like the movie, then just walk out of it halfway and go watch a movie that you like. I mean, why watch a movie that you don't like? You know?
I actually like relate to that concept a lot because in my life, truly, rather than the economics itself, I like care about two main important concepts of economics. Right, one is the sunk cost fallacy, and the second one is the opportunity cost. I think economics taught me to see my life with these two concepts because right now I analyze my time with the opportunity cost. Like, what am I losing right now? Right, the perspective definitely changed after learning economics for some reason, but rather than the economics itself, it helped me in my life. So I would say like it taught me a lot.
Economics is the best self-help subject out there, dude.
Really, bro, really, 100% agree with you. I think like anyone out there should learn that concept, not just to understand economics, but to understand life. Because it gives you a lot of different perspective in terms of like seeing your life through different lens, which you wouldn't see if you haven't taken economics, right? So I think,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So tell me about like where did you grow up? Like what was the household environment like? Did your parents support you while you were growing up? What other activities did you involve in? Because you said like you were more into like the design, the creative aspects, right? What did you do other than academics, like when other people were pursuing academics in general?
Right. So, I mean, sort of just like every other Indian household, it is almost a point that if you ever wanted to pursue anything outside of academics, then your academics has to be sort of set in stone. Until so, as in, if you sort of in your house, you said you were going to play cricket downstairs. They first said you do your homework, right? Same household. So the household environment is not very different in terms of the thought process. Not to paint the wrong picture, but like growing up, the social pressure at least kept me extremely focused in academics. I sort of always did good enough in academics so that nobody asked me why I was sort of pursuing design or why I was pursuing entrepreneurship. Uh, in terms of support, both my parents have been extremely supportive of all the ideas I've had in life. They've never been an obstacle, but they also have a sort of philosophy they follow, which is that you can do whatever you want, but that has to completely be your effort. We will not stand in your way, but we will also not stand behind you to back you up. So if you fuck up, it's your responsibility. You pick yourself up and you move on. We will not be a problem that you will have to deal with, but we will also not be behind you, sort of pushing you and making sure you succeed. So that was sort of the philosophy that they followed, and
Did it help you? Like, how you feel about it?
I think we were talking about this the other day when we first met. I mean, so I told you my first startup was when I was 16 years old, sort of having an event management company. And there was this huge event that we hosted right before the 21-day lockdown, right? And we got like a sort of warning from the commissioner's office saying that you can't have this event and all of that. My parents never really showed up for that event. They never came there, and sort of cheered for me and said, all of that. And that kind of taught me one good lesson. It's that, as a content creator, as both of us, right? When we post a video, we're sort of looking if it gets likes, if it gets validation, gets validation, right? And because I never got that validation, I sort of don't look forward to it. So it's a double-edged sword. Nobody's telling me that I'm shit, but nobody's telling me that I'm good. So instead of having many highs and lows in life, I'm always at a very neutral state, sort of happy with where I am.
I
Without
think
the highs
that's a very good mindset, right? Because sometimes it can ruin someone's life, but sometimes it can actually make you very, what do you say, give you that stoic mindset, right? Because you don't care about the validation, you just post out or like put out whatever you want to in life, and all you care about is what do you feel about it in the end. Like, do you feel happy doing that or not satisfied with it? Let me like get back to the entrepreneur, sorry, the event management thing which you pursued, bro. Like, that was really fascinating. So tell me regarding how it all started, why did you get that idea and everything. So
Okay. This was the stupidest idea that ever exists as far as I know, it's the stupidest idea that could have ever existed.
I don't think that was a super idea, honestly. I don't think that's a super idea. I would have participated in it if that was in my city.
I mean, I'll leave that for the audience to also decide. Or like, so this was in 11th, 10th, 11th grade. And, we were eating like lunch one day. It was lunch break time. I had chapati and paneer butter masala. That's why two of my friends came to my table and we were like sitting down and like having a conversation. And then we were like, it's so difficult to earn money these days. Like we were talking like we were like already 25 and sort of planning our retirement. And then we were like, how do we kind of scam people and make money? That was like our first question. And then we were like, okay, let's sort of think about a business where we can offer some value and then something that we know, because what does a bunch of 16-year-olds know about life that they can sort of ask people to pay money for, right? Definitely not sort of selling an online course at that point in time. So we were like, okay, let's organize a treasure hunt. And then we were like, so many problems we realized started stacking up after that. We were 16. We can't even sign like a document. Like if someone says, hey, this is a sponsorship deal, I can't sign in the document because I'm not the legal age. So we were like, okay, let's organize a treasure hunt. The idea was so cool. We were like, okay, we'll tell everybody to go in cars. We'll set out like, we'll have like 15 location sponsors and we'll sort of have like 500 people going around the city. And we'll tell all the sponsors who are giving us their location that we're sort of bringing in customers to you. So why don't you sort of give us your location in exchange? So the first person we convinced was the school principal because we needed a starting location, which was the school auditorium, you know. And that was basically where it started. And then moving on, we were like, okay, we wanted restaurants, we wanted electronic stores, we wanted Decathlon, we wanted coffee shops, we wanted all of these places to be location sponsors. So we can write clues where these people will go to these locations and sort of hunt for treasure. Now, the whole idea of this model was to sort of get people to engage with the culture of the city. That was basically the idea that we wanted to sort of communicate. And the interesting part was to make it like sort of if you go to an ice cream shop, one of the sort of the clues were, if you kind of get the flavor of the ice cream right, you'll get the next clue. So make it a game. So we were sort of figuring out how to make it fun, instead of just driving around. So, and that was basically the whole idea of the treasure hunt. Like I told you, we had to, because nobody supported us financially, we had to sort of get everything done for free, starting from the food for the volunteers to the transport to the locations. Everything had to be done. And our biggest win was honestly convincing Decathlon that we are a big event management company and partnering with us is the biggest opportunity of their life.
Didn't they ask the guys the experience?
Yes.
Didn't they ask you even?
Yeah, they just asked, who are you? And then we said, that's a great question. Where do we start? We've organized about 20 events in the city. Every major real estate company knows us by our names, And the manager was like, please sit down, have some coffee. And, what? It was, I personally believe you have to fake it till you make it. We would have the bicycle outside Decathlon and come dressed up in suits and be like, okay, let's have a meeting. We want to talk to your manager. And they'll be like, who are you? Why should we let you talk to our manager? So sort of the biggest lesson from this, however, was the domino effect. Like if you just give me a minute, I'll explain to you what the domino effect is, right? Let's say you're organizing a party, okay, and you want people to come to this party, okay, and you call your friend and you tell him, Arvind and Rahul are coming, so you should also come. This guy you're calling will definitely come. That's what he went and told Decathlon. You know what? Sort of this electronic store is coming. This mall is on board. This bungee jumping place is on board. This cafe is on board. Starbucks is on board. Cafe Coffee Day is on board. You should be on board. That was the domino effect. We were like, these 4 companies are on board. You should be on board. And then we'll go tell the same lie to the next company and sort of get each company to FOMO their way into sort of partnering with us, right? Yeah. So that's basically sort of a manipulative domino effect that you can do to sort of get people to partner with you, So that's basically the crux of what we did.
That's a great question, actually. Yeah. Big scam. But it finally ended up with the people, right? With the sponsorship. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So after that,
Everything was free.
after that,
And after that, what happened was the event was supposed to happen the Sunday before, 2 Sundays before the lockdown. And we didn't have enough participants, like I was telling you. Nobody signed up. Who's going to sign up? We don't have a website. We were sort of marketing in a few Instagram pages, and nobody was signing up. And we went and told people in our school to also sign up. But we had like 5, 7 registrations, and that was not enough to pull off an event of this scale. So we had to postpone the event by a week. We had 2 options: 1, cancel the event; 2, postpone the event. We were not able to cancel the event because we already spent the sponsors' money.
sponsors.
Yeah. So we already have people on board. It's too late to cancel. So we sort of said, okay, we have to have the event. So we postponed it to the next Sunday. Just when sort of the Prime Minister of the country decided to have a 21-day nationwide lockdown. One day after the event, and we get a letter from the police office saying that this is sort of against the law, having events like this, and if you do, it would be a major issue with us, sort of, because in their idea, where they came from, they were like, it's going to be a riot, 50 cars moving back and forth wearing the same uniform, they think it's going to be a riot sort of thing, they were scared it'll sort of create a procession situation. We were like, no, don't worry. So what we did 2 things. One, we had to go to 6, 7 police offices individually and get a no objection certificate, present it to our sponsors so that they were okay with conducting the event. Second thing, how do you fight COVID? Hand sanitizers. So we were like, we're not canceling the event, we'll give hand sanitizers to him. And the third, what we did was, so if there are 10 locations, we told every car to go to a different location in the first. So every slew jumbled. So nobody went to the same spot. Everybody went in 10 different directions. So that was how we troubleshoot that. We had to troubleshoot that situation. So, yeah.
Nice, bro. Nice jugaad you did.
That's the right audio.
I mean, to be honest, like, at the age of 16, doing all this kind of jugaad is insane, and arranging, pulling off an event like that in that kind of situation is really insane. So that was really, really epic, to be honest. Like, when I first heard, I was like, what the fuck? Like, what were you doing while you were 16, bro? Like, what?
I still don't know what I did.
That's crazy.
If the police ever comes to arrest me, you know why.
So, tell me about what happened after that. Like, after you graduated from your high school, like your 12th grade, what happened after that?
So, typical physics, chemistry, maths, computer science student, typical parents' sort of dream plan was for me to do engineering. Nothing surprising there. So I graduated from school, and when this sort of entrepreneurial pursuit happened, it was not that big that it sort of made it to the newspaper, but it was big enough for me to realize that, Gaurav, sort of know what to do. This was the spark. Sort of catch on to it, build the momentum. Whether it's a year or 2 years later, remember that you can always wake up this Gaurav inside who's this jugad ass, not worrying about the world and, sort of ready to sort of deal with any kind of shit that comes his way. So don't let that person die, but live this ordinary life where you go to college, but don't let that personality of you die. So I sort of, I personally feel like it's just something like growing up in a family that has sort of fend for you for like 18 years. The little things you can do is like go to college, right, and not protest. So I did sort of go to college. I graduated from school and I went to college. I went to I sort of got into Shivnada University. That's where I sort of pursued my first year in mechanical engineering. And then I was like, this shit is not happening, because I spoke to all my mechanical engineering friends and they were like, इसके बाद MBA in finance करना पड़ेगा. I know I'll sort of get into investment banking. I'm like, you're doing mechanical engineering. Why do you want to do MBA in finance? We're going to do that. Just sort of fuck off right now. And then all my friends in the library, everybody I ate dinner with, were all from economics. They were business majors. And the way they looked at the world was completely different. Everything, they would break it apart. Everything is in this world is based on two principles: supply, demand, and scarcity. Everything, money, life, love, time, everything revolves around supply, demand, and scarcity, right? And these fundamental concepts of economics and self-help were sort of fucking with my head, I was like, there is something to the subject that I want to get my hands on. So the entire first year, I used to spend my days studying mechanical and my nights in the library till like 12 in the night, sort of just, chest deep in economics books. And at one point I was like, I can't take economics further if I don't drop mechanical engineering. So I signed the major change form. I attended the interviews. I sort of presented my case to the School of Economics, and I did not tell my parents about any of this. And the acceptance came through, and that's when I sort of broke it over. And they were happy that I made this decision for myself, and I was happier than ever. And that's when I realized that it's fine. It's never too late. Fuck some collabs. And at that point, the issue was I had 4 years. 1 year was gone studying mechanical. I had 2 years left to finish a 4-year degree. And I had no background in commerce whatsoever. I did not know Micro 101. I did not know Math 101. I did not even have the economic framework of thinking about problems in terms of a supply-demand sort of equation. So I had to put in the extra effort. And when the issue is the world kind of expects more when you take a choice. Like say, for example, you started creating content. And when you sort of break down, everybody will say, you make the choice. It's up to you how you lift it up, right?
Yeah.
So it's like when you're creating a podcast and it doesn't work out, you can't go and bitch about it to anyone. Nobody's listening to you, Everybody's like, it's your problem. Why are you doing it? Stop doing it. That's the solution the world gives you, right? When I go and tell someone, economics is like, I don't understand. They're like, yeah, why did you do it? Just stop doing it. Which was not clearly not a solution. Yeah, why did you choose it? So I was like, it's clearly not a solution. So I had to put in like so much more energy and time to sort of understand basic economic principles and sort of compound to econometrics, macro, intermediate macro, time series, financial econometrics. So it was like this journey of learning from 0 or -1 in a subject that you completely don't understand and sort of rebuilding your character in that process. So it was one hell of a ride. That was basically how university was for me.
Insane, bro. So it's a 4-year degree and then you had to do it in for 2 years.
It's a 4-year degree. The first year is gone because I did mechanical. And the last year is sort of the time when you're sort of doing your thesis or you're doing your internship.
Oh, okay.
So the last semester is gone there. So you essentially have 2.5 years to work with.
Got it.
Yeah.
So now what happened in the college? You also started working with the Y-Combinator startups.
And now you're
Happened. Yeah. So break it down for me now.
Yeah, okay, break it down. All right. So I'll put it like this, right? Every semester in college, ever since I changed to economics and finance, till date, in God's grace, I have made it to the dean's list every single time. I probably have the highest GPA in my batch. I'm not a flex at all. I'm just saying that because it's when you choose something, when you choose your challenges, it becomes so much more tastier to sort of, you know, sort of really grasp and grab every cell in your body and fight for it. The Deemstress was basically sort of proving to myself that this is you, this is your moment, this is your peak, you know. But then I was like, this is just one part of me, you know. We all live multiple lives, one with our probably the relationship, one with our parents, one with our friends, one with our brother, sister. So we live multiple lives. Similarly, college has been living multiple lives. One of those lives was sort of acing academics, being that academic weapon. And then every summer, so this is how my year would look like during the year I'd be in Delhi. The reason I chose to sort of be away from home intentionally, like I'm a few thousand kilometers, you're a few thousand miles away from home. But I feel like the decision that we made is sort of to be able to mature mentally. We need to sort of stay away from our comfort zone, right? So I was like, I want to be away from home. So yes, 2 semesters in Delhi and the 3 month summer break, I will not go home. I will go to Bangalore where I will work in a startup. So that's where the Y-Combinator sort of story came by. It was one hell of a nightmare. The only experience I had on my resume was building my sort of startup.
First of all, like, why do you even choose to like go and pursue that kind of, what do you say, experience in a startup or something? Like, what inspired you?
Okay, perfect. So, uh, when you see a bunch of Lego blocks, playing blocks in front of you, what's the first thing you want to do? You want to sort of build a tower and see how tall you can build a tower. Yeah. So, like, we're in college, right? And we have all the tools to do whatever the hell we want, right? And when you're becoming an adult, you sort of realize that you get so much power to make your own decisions that virtually, Varshit, you and me, we could be on the Forbes 50 list or Forbes under 30 list if we want to be, We could win an Oscar if we want to be. We could be a Nobel laureate if we want to be. You just need to want it enough, right? Now, the question that you asked was, why did I want it, right? I realized that in life, I've never really obsessed over making the decision. Like so many people are like, should I do an MBA? Should I do a master? Should I do build a startup? Should I create content? I'm like, the decision does not matter. You can close your eyes, write it in chits, put it in a box and sort of pick it randomly and pursue it, and you will be totally fine. If you sort of have that passion about everything that you're doing, it's just that, whether it's this conversation that we're having, or it's sort of a race I'm running, or if it's an internship application I'm doing, just try to be the fucking best at it, Like, what do people do in the summer breaks, right? They sort of apply for internships. And I'm like, why just apply for an internship when I want to in the future, in some point in time, want to have the experience to build my own startup? Sort of be with people who are building it right now and who are doing it right. Y Combinator backed startup because one, they're usually well funded, and Y-Com backed startups operate like a corporate, right? In terms of culture, they're not very sort of
Casual.
casual. Exactly. And you realize that most startups don't have formal structure, which means that there is a lot of chaos, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of pressure. Now, the difference between pressure and sort of drive is that pressure sort of pushes you down. Drive sort of lets you work till 2 a.m., lets you work till 3 a.m. and sort of still stay motivated in that project.
Yeah.
Right. So the leaders, the people who have self-selected themselves into Y-Com are probably well-funded, which means your stipend will be looking sort of healthy. And also that you're working in a culture that sort of inspires you, because a startup, like we know, both of us know that startup is sort of depressing if it is just pressure, timeline, sales calls, right?
The burnout is one of the reasons that's the case.
The burnout is real.
Yeah.
It's taxing, right? So you need to be in a place that burns you enough so that the coal becomes a diamond but does not become dust, right? So
Wow, what a way to put that, bro. What a way to put that. Insane.
but yeah, that is basically why I sort of self-selected myself into a startup that is healthy for my growth, and that's where Kindly came into play.
Insane, bro. So the reason why you gave it, like how badly you want it, is actually the thing. But I'm always curious, bro. Like, why do you always like see everyone wants to be on a Forbes list if you wanna be an entrepreneur, right? Because that's a dream for every entrepreneur out there, like any startup founder out there. Even I have the dream, but right now at this point, I don't want it very badly. What do you say about it? Like, how do you want it to be like your obsession? Can you do it? Like, is it possible in your experience at least? Like, because for me, naturally, content is an obsession for me. Like anything related to content is an obsession for me. Anything related to self-development is an obsession to me. But Forbes, I want to be on the 30 under 30 list, but it's not an obsession. Like I don't want it very badly enough. Like
Right. I completely get what you're saying. How many followers do you have on YouTube right now?
very less, bro. Like okay, 400. I don't know. Yeah.
400. What if I told you that you will never be able to sort of ever reach 500 followers? Do you believe me?
No.
Yeah. That's that's the point, right? The point is that you see, you sort of have a small idea or vision of what you want to sort of be where you want to be, right? And when someone tells you that this vision is not possible, like I told you, you will never be able to reach 500 followers. And in your head, right now, you're thinking, fuck, no, this guy is wrong. I can. I know for a fact that I can, It's not even the obsession. It's about your ability. It's that when I throw shit at you, can you you think in your head and say, dude, this guy's wrong. I know for a fact that I can prove this guy wrong. Let him wait. I'll actually go and prove him wrong. Right? It's the obsession in your ability to sort of create the vision that you see in your head so that other people can start seeing it. And then they'll say that, damn, dude, I didn't know you were capable of this. The fact is that I always knew that I was capable of it. Now you're seeing that I'm capable, right? So it's the obsession, not of the outcome, but the obsession in your ability to make things happen. You know for a fact how you're having this conversation with me because you know for a fact that tomorrow you will have sort of Bill Gates on the podcast. It will come. The time will come when you want it that bad, but it will eventually come.
So it's all about like self-belief, I guess. Like, is it about self-belief again? Like asking the questions to ourselves. But if you ask me that question,
it's more about self-doubt than self-belief, in my opinion. All of us, people like us, were deeply broken in the inside, and we're constantly trying to prove
like we're capable. The reason why I started content creation was self-doubt. The main reason, I would say the number one reason. I started with self-doubt.
That's true.
And then
yeah,
I could mute it and build my self-confidence, because see, you can't never let go of self-doubt. That's what I learned with my experience. You will always have self-doubt. It's always going to stay with you, but it's about distracting it like away from it and building your self-confidence in a way that it mutes your self-doubt. But then somehow the other day it comes again, it bothers you, makes you question about life. And I think that's the stage when you again like start accelerating in your life, right? Because whenever I again start thinking about start questioning my abilities and my will I be able to do that? Will I be able to reach that position in the future? Gives me a lot of motivation again, and pushes me forward. Like that's a fuel for me at this point. But before, like 1 year ago, when I was dealing with self-doubt, it was eating me up, bro. It was completely eating me up. Tell me about self-doubt, bro. Like,
people like us.
yeah.
I'll tell you, yeah. So for people like us, anxiety is fuel, right? Our fear is our biggest driver, right? It's what keeps us awake at night. It's what you used the word stoic, in like much earlier in this conversation. I sort of listen to the stoic beliefs on a daily basis. I engage with it like every day as soon as I wake up. I try to at least. And there's this one phrase they call memento mori, which is basically in plain English, bro, you're going to die. We're all going to die. Nobody's making it out of this world alive. Nobody has ever won life. If winning life is escaping death, nobody can win life. So we are essentially already playing a game where we are going to lose, right? So the point is not losing or winning. The point is that as much as you level up or as less as you level up, you're going to die. The point is, how rich do you want to be in terms of experience? It was not about the Forbes 30. It was not about creating content. It was not about the $10,000 or the 10,000 followers. it's about the richness of the experience you have before you eventually lose in life. Because we're all going to lose. None of us are going to be winners, right? Every winner is temporary until they die, and then we move on, right?
Yeah.
So it's not even self doubt. It's always memento mori. It's always like my one response to when I write this down, and I'm like, I look into my people's eye, like your eye. And I'm like, dude, you're gonna die. We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. It's okay. Just do it. It's fine. You know, and that's the point. Life is a game, and you've already lost. Now start playing the game.
That's an interesting way to look at life. I see this like I don't listen to all this stoic mindset, like all these lines which you said before, but I realized I was gaining all the stoic knowledge, but in my own words, right? You said some mementos or something. Bro. I don't even know what that means. So if you tell me that, I would say the same thing. But I would say I believe in that we all are gonna die, right? I know, like, I believe in those fundamentals, and then later realize, okay, shit, this is all from the Stoic philosophy and etc. That's when I realized, okay, shit, I've been like listening to all these things, but I didn't know it was Stoic, like all the Stoicism and etc. So I think like a lot of things, all this philosophy comes from multiple podcasts, multiple books which I consumed over time, where everyone put this thoughts into my head, right? Like they talk about all these things, everything. Interestingly, I've been watching this video, bro. Like there was this video taken by some telescope. I forgot. Oh, James Webb, I think so. Is it the James Webb telescope? So it's basically a very zoomed out version of the entire universe from the Earth.
Oh.
Do you know the video?
No, I don't know the video.
Oh, it's an interesting video. I think anytime you feel lost or low, when you look at it, it basically like I think it's like you are nothing in front of the universe. Like you are just nothing in front of the universe. Like
Right.
end of the day, we are in the small planet, and there are multiple planets in this universe. And your problem right now, which you have, is nothing with compared to the universe which you are living in right now. Like when you look out of the globe, it's nothing. Like nothing matters.
Yeah.
Even your life doesn't matter if you come out from that. If you see that, what do you say, the picture. It's really interesting, bro. Like I've there's this video in YouTube. You can search it up. Like it's a video of like complete zoomed out version of the universe. So
I'm thinking
it opens up.
yeah.
Yeah, it opens up a different perspective. To be honest, there was a lot of reels before regarding this. Like, and it really changes the perspective.
Yeah. Someone asked me on Instagram. They said, "What do you do? You know, when you're feeling like shit?" And I said, "I just put everything down and stare at a wall. You know, I just stare at the wall." And and the reason I do that, I know it's weird. And the reason I do that is because I feel like most of anxiety, most of feeling overwhelmed, most of the fear comes from dealing with a lot of things at the same time, right? And I feel like the people who have the ability to sort of constantly switch between tasks, do different things, it's basically dealing with one thing at a time in your mind as well. Right now, when I'm talking to you, I'm completely fully involved in this conversation. What I have to do 1 hour from now is completely different from what I am talking about right now, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of the anxiety comes from being in the present, thinking about the future, thinking about the past, and not wanting to disappoint yourself, right? So when you stare at the wall, you realize that you're breathing, you realize that you're alive, and you realize that you're here now, sort of existing, right? And when you observe the fact that you're existing, you realize that you can choose what thoughts you want to put in your mind and operate those thoughts. It's like trying to add, multiply, divide, and subtract at the same time in a calculator. It's going to give you syntax error, right? So your brain is very similar. You know, you do one operation at a time, and you do it one after the other. And most of the anxiety, most of the overwhelming feelings, and most of the self-doubt actually slowly fades a bit from yourself.
Mm. So you're basically practicing mindfulness by staring a wall.
Very good one.
Yeah, staring at a wall. That's
Or
like,
good way to put it.
I think everyone has different approaches, right? I usually do that like whenever I feel like shit, I just take a warm shower.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. So
It heals.
because that time, like No music, nothing, just me under a shower. Opens up lot of things. It calms my brain. It calms my body. It cools me down, and I come out with a clarity. It's like, okay, Varshit, you have to calm down right now. You have been doing all this shit. I think you have to like let go of few of the things out there and work on the other things. These are the things which you have to dial up right now, and you also have to like rewire all the things which I've been doing, which led to this situation. I think that helps me, and then I've been on and off with meditation, bro. Like I try to do it every day, but then I do it on and off. Sometimes I get bored. I've been like, do you practice meditation?
I was meditating right before this conversation. I was like, all the questions Varshit is gonna ask me, please give me the power to be able to answer them.
Who do you pray to?
I don't. So that's the thing. I don't pray. I probably pray to myself. No, I'm joking. I I'm sort of the believe. I believe in the fact that your actions have consequences, and I believe that there are things in life you can control and things in life you can't control, right? And I completely respect multiple views of that. Stoicism has been sort of that for me. It's not the practice of stoicism is basically practice the ability to be with yourself, to think through your thoughts, and to take responsibility for all your backfalls, and take credit for all your successes, and sort of be the best version of yourself, and be a person who sort of serves the world, and be a person who serves the body, be a person who serves the mind, and be full of yourself, but not too narcissistic, basically.
Yeah. I was about to say that when you said it. Yeah. I think so you basically don't like whenever I say like tell you to close your eyes you and imagine God, what would you imagine? Yourself.
I'm not a statue of myself right in front of me. No, I actually, most of the time, I imagine darkness. I imagine darkness, complete darkness. And then I imagine myself sitting in the middle of that darkness. And then I see myself, that's basically observing yourself in that darkness.
Within.
Imagine this. Yeah, with him. So basically, you move your ability to look at yourself, move it outside, and then you look at yourself without sort of through your eyes. You look at yourself. So you reflect on who you are, who you're becoming, and you sort of. If I basically imagine I'm Varshit and I look at Gaurav through someone else's, sort of.
Oh, that's interesting. I think you basically like believe in this concept of universe, right? Like giving out to the universe. Is that right?
Yeah. The universe is you. You are the universe.
Yeah. So you believe in that kind of energy in terms of like
Yeah.
giving your gratification, uh, seeking that energy, seeking that what do you say, whatever.
Yeah,
Interesting.
dude. Still figuring it out, but you get the idea.
I get the idea. I get what you're trying to tell actually. So how like did you have like a peakest of your self doubt phase and what did you do that time?
Oh yeah, dude. The first summer 2021, right after my first year, I was applying to like 100 places for internships. I didn't get into any. Life has been very funny because the only college I applied to was SNU, and I got in. The only internship that I sort of only Y-Com internship I applied to was Kindly, and then I got in. What I usually do is sort of take, and then Vans happened, which was the next Y-Com back sort of. So my peak self doubt was when. Nobody wanted to sort of work with me, my they didn't find my I thought they didn't find my story interesting, but what I sort of realized is that I didn't tell my story the right way. Most of the people in the world we live in today are trying to sort of they try to see themselves in the story you tell them, right? And a good story is not about making the character of the movie feel great, but making the audience feel like a character in the movie.
Exactly.
Right. So it, probably May 2021, the first time I sort of was very anxious about what is going to happen in life and all of that. But since May 2021, life has taken me for a ride, and only humbled by how far we've come. So May 2021 happened. Kindly was basically the sex hospital that I worked in. I mean, for the viewers, it's not a sex hospital. It's an anonymous sexual health wellness startup. They're doing pretty well. And that's where I worked in operations and strategy. Then I sort of moved for the second summer into the financial services space. Vans was also the startup I worked in. Both the founders had met, I think, in San Francisco. So that sort of had a good mouth effect on my getting into the startup.
Oh, your previous startup and the present startup, like
Yeah,
the
started
you worked in?
YCW. Yeah, both YTW 2022. So they both met in the same year. They were part of the same SF batch. So there was sort of a good mouth effect into getting in. I got into the founder's office role, which felt like an upgrade at that point in time.
Yeah.
Right. And then and that at that point in time, I was like, from this point on, even if you want to fail, it's going to be really hard for you to fail. And then I started. That's when I started. In life, you realize that at one point, you will have to take everything that is thrown at you, and at some point, you will get to choose what you want and what you don't want. So I think that sort of choice came into my life only after 2022 May. That's when I sort of got into Unleash, where I was building out an idea with them for 6 months. We basically sort of applied and we one of 42 ideas that sort of got in, and we built that idea for 6 months. That snowballed into me getting a TED talk. That snowballed into me sort of working with another startup that I did not really talk about in LinkedIn, but it was a consulting role, for a startup in the founder's office. And then I sort of moved into venture capital and private equity. The story sort of slowly built itself. But again, it's all about the domino effect. If not for the first person who believed in me, even today I tell the boss, I worked with years ago in May 21. I tell him, if you didn't believe in me, the world would not have believed in me, right? Because for most people who are just graduating out of college, the biggest issue is to get that first person to believe in them. Because once they believe in them, the second person is not believing in you. They're believing in the first experience that you had, right? So my fourth internship is based on my first three internships. It's no longer based on me, right? So we sort of realized that people in the world we live in, why do we go to a good school? Why do we pursue a good degree? Why do we pursue a good job in a good company? So that we build the trust quotient, right? We make it easier for the world to trust us. So once the world trusts us, opportunities will come our way, right? So that sort of went by, and that's when Dave reached out to me, and he was like, sort of kidnapped me in Delhi and said, we will build this thing together, pocket fund. And basically, the last few months have sort of been about building pocket fund and sort of thinking about things to do with it. Pocket fund is basically a space where businesses, micro acquisitions happen. Meta did not build Instagram. Meta did not build WhatsApp. Meta acquired Instagram and WhatsApp, and that's the best performing products, today. They're more relevant than the product that they built, which is
They've been,
right.
yeah.
So it's clear that, in the world we live in, building is not the only way to move forward. And I feel like, at least in the Indian culture, right, among entrepreneurs, we're like, oh, the dream is to sort of hustle your way through and build from zero, right? And absolutely for it. I'm absolutely for it. What I want to think about is there are two types of people, one who love businesses and one who love building. I'm sort of somewhere in the middle. I personally, if you tell me to be passionate about Zepto or Zomato, where a guy is literally delivering food every day, I can't be passionate about that project for 12 years or 15 years of my life. I'm just not that kind of guy, right? I can't wake up and go to office and be like, did the delivery go on time? Did the butter chicken sort of not leak over the biryani? Those are not problems I want to deal with for 12 years of that. I'll be honest, right? So I was like, I want to be in the space where people are building. I also want to be in the space where business logic is taught about. The business logic in healthcare, the business logic in financial services, the business logic in information technology. It's all different business logics, right? Sort of one is a recurring revenue model. One is a build trust with your client and have a long-term relationship. Someone is asking you lifetime value, basically cost of acquisition to lifetime value for one sort of business model. One sort of business model is sort of giving a free trial, a freemium model. Every business model is different. Every business logic is different. Spotify has a freemium model. LinkedIn has a freemium model. So these are business logics that are sort of very interesting to me, right? And I don't want to construct an opinion about the world based on one idea, one venture, one experience, right? The first 20 years of our life should be about updating our worldview. Know as many things about the world as you can. So even if like someone comes to you on the street and talks to you about something, you should be able to sort of engage in that conversation and take it forward. So I feel like they sort of, I don't know who said it, but it's basically the T. You need to, the T is basically the head of the T stands for the breadth of the world you know, and the vertical part of the T stands for the depth of the world you know. So I always like, right, the first 20 years of my life has been building the breadth. The next 20 will be building the depth.
It's basically like going deep into the concept which you have experienced. Is that right? Or
Yeah.
Sort of going all the experience.
it's basically getting the experience of all the multiple things, and then the verticality is going deep into those concepts which you have like. Is that right? Or
Exactly. So once you know everything, so basically once you know what is on the menu, then you go and order what you want,
got it.
basically.
So it's basically
That's
knowing everything a little bit and then going deep into
yeah.
knowing a specific thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know how they say jack of all trades, master of none?
Master of none.
However, the second part of the quote is jack of all trades, master of none, still better than the master of one.
Well,
Nobody talks about still better than the master of one. Jack of all trades, master of none, is still better than the master of one. So Luke talks about the second half of the quote.
okay. Yeah. That's actually the full quote, right? Yeah. That's
Yeah, that's the full quote. So everybody says jack of all trades, master of none. But honestly, I feel like again, I feel like I would rather be an extremely good generalist. Someone who's sort of able to edit video, someone who's able to have a great conversation, someone who's able to run Excel sheets for you, right? Someone who's able to write a script, someone who's able to sort of dance if life demands. You know, so like being open to the breadth of experiences in life before you narrow down. So yeah, I mean, wealth is built by sort of narrowing down, but you need to know what's on the menu to sort of narrow down.
100%, like I completely agree with you. But I'm telling you, for the last 10 minutes, what you've talked about actually opened me a lot of tangents to ask you. Firstly, let's go back to your Y-Combinator thing. How could one get their first internship in from a big like startup like Y-Combinator, like a big Y-Combinator start? How do you even do that? Like, what do you have on yourself so that people are gonna trust you? How was the journey for you in that time?
Okay. So I think the first part of this answer would be that nobody in the world, okay, thinks about you, and nobody thinks that you're the best. Nobody has the time to think about you. That's the first part of the question. Right? So when you sort of write a message to someone, you're basically telling them why you're great, why they should hire you, and all of those things. But the person who's hiring you, probably the founder or the co-founder you're writing to, their LinkedIn profile is probably managed by someone else in the marketing team in the office.
Yeah.
So they're not reading their messages, right? So the key aspect of this is to sort of reach out to a person who's powerful enough to give you an internship, but not too powerful that he's too busy to even read his own LinkedIn messages. So most of the time, you're sort of messaging the CEO of, the startup, but probably not reading their messages because it's managed by someone else. The second aspect of it is that I have never applied to a position that was open. Every single internship I've gotten up until now, and I think will ever get, has always been when there is no opening. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because when there is opening, there is competition, which means that you have to tell them why you're better than the other fish in the ocean. When there is no opening, nobody's applying, which means there is very little competition. And so you can self-select yourself into the conversation with a founder. So every position I've applied to has never been because there's an opening. Because if there is an opening, then there's more competition. Now,
But what if we say like we are closed that now, like we're not hiring people, we're not hiring interns right now? Then what would that be?
that means you're not good enough.
Oh, so okay,
Right.
it makes sense. So if you are actually good enough, people will hire you even if there is no hope in it.
Absolutely. Because every winning company needs a winning team. And if they think you're valuable enough, then whether they're hiring or not does not matter. They will always find a space for you because they know that if you're there with them, the company will grow. So if the company says that they're not hiring, that means you're not good enough.
Okay, insane. Yeah.
Your dream company is always hiring. Your dream company is always hiring, right? So, sort of the most practical approach to send a message is be extremely crisp and don't make it about you. Now, if I'm applying to a startup, I'll exactly tell them where they're screwing up, right? Now, the biggest problem about this is like I'll basically if I were to send Varshit a message, I'll basically tell him that. I will come, join your team, and do exactly this. And by me doing this, this is the outcome that you will expect. Now the issue is Vashit probably reads this message and he goes, "Who's this? Who's this dude? He knows nothing about what I do." Or he'll be like, "Who's this dude? He did so much research, he knows everything about what I do." Now that is the issue with these messages. It's that there is a high fixed cost invested in sort of figuring out what startup you want to work with and also obsessing over that startup before you get into it. Now, every startup that I worked with, I sort of never cold mailed. I've only cold mailed to sort of hedge my risk. What if I don't get an internship? So I will cold mail and keep a backup ready. And then once the backup is ready, I'll sort of take a list of 3 or 4 companies that I want to really work with. I'll read every sort of LinkedIn post about that company. I'll read their employees. I'll stalk their culture. I'll talk and read every single news clipping about them, how much money they've raised, what is the latest blog post. After all of that is done, now the issue is I will spend so much time researching and apply, and maybe they'll just say sorry, you know. But the flip side to this is that because you've spent so much time, into reading this company, the likelihood that your message is so much better than the average unique out there is way higher. Yeah. So I usually start out my my LinkedIn message with, "Hey dude, I know you probably receive hundreds of these messages every day. I promise you that this is not a cold message. Just give me a minute of your time." And then I just write 3 bullet points. The first bullet point is basically who the fuck am I? Because that's important. The second bullet point is why do we make sense together? And the third bullet point is exactly in the end of 3 months, what results will you see?
So what for the why? What do you say? Like, give me an example.
Right. So, okay, this is the most important question. Okay, let's say that every college student is going to say, "Hey, I'm from Delhi University. Hey, I'm from New York University. Hey, I have a CFA level 1. I've done my charter. I've done this. I've done that. I've done a course in Coursera. I probably XYZ." Okay. Now the minute you tell me that I'm a student from NYU or I'm a student from DU, my first question is, did that first line tell me how you're different from any other student in NYU? Invalid first line, right? Now, if I tell someone that I'm Gaurav, I'm an economics and finance major, I'm already creating a metric by which they can compare me, right? When a corporate comes to hire from university, they look at your GPA. Why? Because it's so simple to sort of compare a 7.5 to an 8.5, right? When you make it hard for someone to compare you against, so when I introduced myself, I didn't introduce myself as a this, that, this, that. So because now you're like, now your question is, who do I compare Gaurav with? Who do I know who's similar to Gaurav? The answer is I'm not similar to probably anyone you know. And that is how your introduction should be. Whenever you say you're a CFA level 1, my question is, why hire a CFA level 1 when I can hire a CFA level 2? Right? When you say I'm a BSc Econ, my question is, why hire a BSc Econ when I can hire an MSc Econ? Right? So when you give them a metric to compare you by, you sort of allow them to sort of rank your personality based on someone else who's slightly better than you. So when I say I'm an econ major, they'll ask me, okay, if you have an 8.5 GPA, I'd rather hire a 9 GPA, right? So the essence of the introduction should be so complicated and so deeply personal that it makes that person sort of impossible to compare you with someone else. My introduction I mean, it completely depends on the person I'm talking to, right? Like we discussed, the person I'm talking to wants to hear a truth. So the introduction should always include that truth that they want to hear, right? If, like, let's say that my belief about the world is that, I'm a capitalist, right? Now, that is my worldview. Now, the person I'm writing to also has a worldview. So the introduction should always be a part of their worldview. You should not take away from that. The second thing is your introduction. My introduction will never have, I'm a BSc Econ. The introduction will never have, I have this much GPA, I'm from this university, this is my age, this is what I'm doing. It will probably have uh, a small introduction to the randomest thing. It would probably be, hey dude, I know it's 2 a.m. And I can't sleep. You know why? And then I'll probably start. It's a story. Like I'd be like, dude, this is bothering me. I want to get this off my chest. That's how my cold mails are. It's not like, hi sir, good morning. Hope you're doing well. They're always doing well. So never start with hope you're doing well. When you're they're better when you're not asking them that question or complimenting them when they're doing well. So like what I would say is break the box. I'd be like, dude, I just need someone to talk to, and then I'll end with, so what say, you want to work together? That's how I start it.
Okay, no, give me an example of a cold message you do. Like first for you say like the subject line is basically set. It's 2 a.m. I just want to get this off my chest. I just want to talk to you. Next interaction. How do you introduce yourself? This is Gaurav. What do you say?
So I say, okay, I'm like, dude, I'm this 21-year-old dude. I work with two Y-Combinator startups. I've probably worked in private equity. I have my
No, let's talk about if you don't have an experience. You don't have an experience. Just talk about.
Okay. I mean, this is my current introduction, but my previous introduction would be, yo, dude, I sort of, I'll basically start with humor, right? I'll be like, I've gone through 2 semesters of college, brilliant experience, and does that make me a good candidate? Absolutely not. Like basically, even if I had 2 Y-Combinator back startups in venture capital and sort of everything behind my belt, I'll write all of it down and I'll be like, dude, and these are all the reasons for which you should not hire me. That's how the introduction would be, I'll be like,
Okay.
like, I'll basically be like, I'm not going to give you a list of my achievements so that you can sort of like simply hire me. I'm not even going to tell you. I'm going to tell you enough for you to know me, but have to get on a call to know more about it, right? I won't tell them. So that's the most important part, right? I mean, the reason I'm not able to tell you exactly what I say is because I don't remember. It's so unique. It's so momentary. It is so heartfelt and it's so emotional. I'll be like, I say the randomest things and the dude will be like, bro, you're hilarious. Let's talk. That would be the response, It won't be, okay, a summer internship, May 2025, you're selected. No. It'll sort of be, it'll be like that, So I'll be like, and the randomest things, and I'll be like, I'm a hot, I do this, I do that, I sort of.
No, tell. Give me an example. Like, how do you introduce? You send me this line. If I am a person who is in college right now and wants to apply,
Open one of my, link cold messages.
and then say like I'm a first year student, just done with my 2 semesters of my college. Now I'm gonna apply for my internship through LinkedIn. I'm just like messaging all the maybe the managers, because you said CEOs and founders would be busy. So I would message the manager or maybe a good team member who's maybe working in the founder's office, because he'll be reading his message. Obviously, you'll not have an assistant for him. So you'll message that guy. And then you say that, bro, like this is bothering me. It's 2 a.m. I really want to talk, like, get this off my chest. And then you start, bro, see, I'm this dude in college right now, finished 2 of my semesters. I know and I've done certain things. I've been doing content creation, but do you think it's enough? No, it's not. Definitely not. And is this a reason why you should hire me? Definitely not. And then what do you talk about afterwards? How do you introduce yourself?
So I'm just reading one of my introductions. It starts with, "Hey Batman, I make great brownie."